What's up, my bearded bros? Bearded Maniac here with another MLB roster update video. The roster is literally just updated for me, well, for me at least. As you can see, we got some big movers. We don't have as many pages as the last time, but which is good because you don't have as many negatives. Well, as many zeros, I guess you should say. We have starting off the biggest movers of the week, Jose Perella, whose contact and power versus right went up 14 and 15 respectively. His power versus left went up 26, and his discipline went up 16. Now, his overall only went up 10, mainly due to his vision actually dropping. But overall, that is amazing. His durability is pretty solid. His fielding and arm strength are pretty solid. His speed's really good. So he's one of those good franchise blocks, I guess you could say. I don't know exactly how old he is, but he looks like he could be doing good. He's hitting 357. Damn. And also, next buff I noticed right off the bat is that the bullpen for the Arizona Diamondbacks got beefed up, I personally, quite a bit. Fernando Rodney, I know he's been in the game for a while, so the fact that his HR9 and H9 went up 15 and 21 respectively, for me, is kind of insane, because this equates to a 9 plus overall. And honestly, it's not that much. His control isn't that good. His clutch is honestly kind of terrible. His reaction and fielding is just nasty, but his break and his velocity and durability are pretty outstanding, honestly. So he's now up to a 76, which actually makes him usable now. In rebuilds and stuff like that, he's actually going to be tradable. Then you have Archie Bradley, who's at that point and at that skill level where he not necessarily have to trade him. Got a 1.17 ERA. That's pretty insane. His stamina went down 15, but his H9 went up 17. His K and B9 went up, or walk per 9 went up 7. His HR9 went up 5. His velocity and break both went up 18 points. Now that is crazy. He has a fucking .85 whip, which is, to me, is just nuts. You have other people improving. Mike Clevenger went up to a 71, which isn't that good, so I'm not going to really go over him. Ben Gamel, a solid outfield option for the Seattle Mariners. I've played with him before as a Mariner in my road to the show. I got even simulated. This guy plays solid. His contact went up 10 and 20 respectively. Power went up 19 versus left. Vision went up to 39. And discipline went up to 6. Now, 77 overall is nothing to toot a horn at for a right fielder, but the fact that his vision went up to a 39 to me is what makes him actually usable now, because before, having 29 vision is just unusable. It's unusable at that range for me. So now he's more usable. I might keep him. And then you got Matt Adams going up 7, and that's with vision decreasing by 7 and contact versus left decreasing by 4. But his power went up 19 and 11 respectively. Discipline went up 11, and his contact versus right went up 6. It's now 81. If you can get this guy, put him in versus right-handers. The reason why he's only a 78 overall is because his contact versus left-handed pitchers are freaking terrible. If you can get this guy for a relatively cheap trade if you're rebuilding, take it. And just substitute him when you're facing lefties. His fielding's still pretty solid. His arm strength's solid. He doesn't have much speed, doesn't have much durability. His clutch is decent. He's a solid bat, even if it's just a backup. You have Mike Minor going up to an 80 overall, which is so solid to have in the bullpen, because it seems like a lot of rebuilds that I try to focus on, not nearly anybody's an 80 when you start out. So to have 28 increase to velocity, 14, 11, and 12 increase to H9, K9, and HR9, the decrease to stamina and walk 9 has a slight impact on the overall increase, because otherwise he probably would have been a +8. But even then, that is pretty freaking good. His whip and ERA are pretty solid. You got Shane Green. He went up 7, but I noticed instantly his stamina went down 26. Probably because he got demoted from a starter to a relief pitcher. I noticed that automatically dwindles their stamina. You got the walk 9 and then control went down 10 and 13 respectively. If, let's say, those things stayed even, he probably would have gained 11 points, 12 points. Because you see the jumps of 19, 14, 10, and 16 to velocity. That is just insane. But the bad part is, if he could have kept his control even, and the velocity increase, he would have been such a better option. But lately, not. You see a couple 80s immediately on this page right here. Jim Johnson becoming a legit closer at 81. Jose Barrios becoming a legit starter option at 82. Good trade possibility. Try to pick him up maybe. As you can see, his stamina is good. His other stats are good. Control, not too bad. His velocity is not too bad. And I say his control is not too bad because his velocity is not too bad. His clutch is solid, durability solid, arm strength is solid, and he has a really good reaction time for a pitcher. You got Marwin Gonzalez, a incredible actually first base option for the Houston Astros. His contact is really good. His power is really good versus both. His discipline's getting up there, which is also notable. And then you have an Angels pitcher that went up 6, which is super good. He doesn't have too much clutch or control, but his velocity is not at the high enough point where you have to really worry about it. Then you got Trey Mancini here, placing Chris Davis. Went up to a 74 overall, batting .321, which is pretty crazy. Already went over Jim Johnson. You have Austin Bryce, went up 5. He's now only a 52 overall. You can actually probably expect him to go up even more the more he pitches, because where he is 0-0, he's only pitched 25 innings. You don't get a really good read on his H9, K9, B9. So probably in the next roster update, you might see that move up to like a 45, probably a 48, and maybe a 40, because I've seen highlights of this guy play. Really solid player, really solid. Then you have Chi Wei Hu. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Up 4 points overall. I don't see the actual increase here, so I can't really say. Juan Nicasio went up to a 78. That's a solid rating for a bullpen reliever, especially when you have a velocity of 94. You can just come in there late in the game and just blow back some hitters. That is depth that is needed. The Reds also have Buchanan, who's, I guess, playing for the Blue Wahoos, who's now a 62 overall. That's not bad. Peralta got another buff up to an 80 overall because his power got buffed and his contact got buffed. Now, the changes is he was a 76, which was reliable for sorts, but to me, making his power more balanced made it so he's not just a right-handed pitcher hitter. He can now hit left-handed pitchers more reliably, so you can just focus on maybe a backup right fielder. And then Mike Zunino becomes a viable target with his power increasing by 20 and his contact increasing from 26 to 42. Reason why you might rather just trade him away if you're rebuilding the Mariners, though, is his vision is freaking terrible. It is just god-awful. So if you do try to rebuild the Mariners, I'd trade this guy away. He could probably fetch a pretty penny. You got Blake Parker here. Solid relief pitcher. Increased the velocity, HR9 and H9. Brad Peacock for the Astros. It's nice to see him get his respect. Not a big buff, 4 points, but it's only 9 points H9 and 12 points, or 12 points H9 and 9 points HR9. His stamina is still really solid. He has really good break. Not really good velocity. The only thing that worries me with him is his break is a little high for his lack of control. But you should see probably more of a balance come out later. Already went over Peralta. Zach Neal for the Athletics getting increased. That's pretty solid. Nick Martinez. Actually, now it doesn't seem like much because he's only a 58. But let's say in the rebuild, he's probably going to be a minor or something like that. He's going to be one of those players to where that small jump of 4 points makes it so you might be able to get somebody in the low 70s for him. Or if you throw another piece in him in another trade, you might be able to increase to an 80-something overall by throwing him in there with that little increase where before it probably wouldn't have been accepted. You have Nick Martinez, who's now better trade bait, 63. Same thing with Tyler Cloyd, better trade bait. Brooks Pounders. Oh my god, that name's kind of funny. He becomes solid trade bait. So does Eduardo Escobar, who is a really, really, really solid shortstop. He is one of the foundation pieces for the Twins that is helping them along. As you can see, 15 runs, nothing too great. 18 RBIs, nothing too great. Hitting .290, not like amazing stats. And he has one stolen base, but his average being at 290 and his on base being 345 means he gets on base when he needs to. His power's going up slowly, his vision and discipline went up, his contact went up. He seems to be more of a left-handed pitcher hitter, which is not bad. But this is the guy, out of this whole thing so far, that I think just jumps off the page. The fact that his contact went up to 73 and 85 respectively, and his power versus right went up to 77, makes him a 3 or 4 hole hitter for any rebuild. If you can get this guy, get him. His stealing and speed aren't that high. His bunting isn't that high. His fielding and arm strength are really solid. Really freaking solid. His durability is honestly incredible compared to other people. So he's going to probably stay in your lineup. I actually had him in a rebuild once where he was out for a couple months, and it happened to be around playoff time. So you got to be careful. Get him a good backup at least. But let's say you have like a 70-something overall with an A potential. You could possibly get Ozuna for maybe another minor leaguer thrown in. So he could be a foundation piece for a rebuild. I like that. I really like that. And again, the Rays, another trade piece with an overall improvement there. You have Adam Morgan, another trade piece. Aaron Hicks for the Yankees, up to an 84 overall. This could be another solid option to target for a rebuild because I don't think he commands too much of a salary, and his contact and power both went up 14 respectively, and his discipline's up to an 88. So he could be one of those leadoff batters or bottom of the lineup batters because his discipline's so good. You could probably rely on him to get on base. He's batting .302 with 35 RBIs and 40 runs with only 9 home runs, which doesn't seem like that much, but with 40 runs, with only 9 of them coming off your own home run, to me, that's honestly incredible. He's only got 36 strikeouts out of 179 at-bats. He's slugging .536. If you could get this guy and Ozuna in a rebuild, you'd be almost solid in the outfield. Gary Sanchez also, if you're rebuilding the Yankees, you probably wouldn't have to trade for much at this point because you have Judge, Hicks, and Sanchez. Sanchez being an 87 is incredible. His arm strength going up to an 80, you don't see that often. His power in contact versus right-handers going up 8 and 4. His discipline going up 9. He's probably more of a right-handed batter, batting against right-handed player than anything else, but still 87 overall. Solid target, solid target. Mike Montgomery for the Cubs. It's nice to see him get some respect. Up to a 75. Good trade bait. Ubaldo Jimenez. Really solid trade bait here. 70 overall. I think he has a good potential. I'm not sure. Alex Wood for the Dodgers. Now this is needed. He has been the guy behind Clayton Kershaw. When Clayton Kershaw's in a slump, if he's ever in a slump, this guy will knock you right in the mouth the game right after. So if you're rebuilding the Dodgers, those are the two key pieces you're definitely going to need to keep. He's an 86 overall, so if you do want to trade for him, he's going to be extremely cost effective in my opinion. He has pitched 61 innings and only has allowed 2 runs, hasn't lost yet, ERA under 2, whip under 1, only allowed 42 hits in 61 innings, 72 strikeouts and only 15 walks. Those are insane stats for anybody. Then you have Edwin Jackson, who's a free agent, who went up to a 64, which is nice. Clayton Richard getting some respect with a nice stamina increase. Nice H and K9 increase, but a HR decrease because he's up to 10 home runs. His ERA is a little bad, but he plays for the Padres. Matt Carpenter becoming a solid option with an 83. Might be able to keep him a little bit better. And you have, this is noticeable. I did not even notice this at first. Kelly Jansen becoming a 97 overall. Nearly perfect 99. Only thing stopping him right now is his HR9 is at 61, which honestly I think only giving up 1 home run in 31 innings, his HR9 should be up to a 70. But it's not. 97 overall. If you are building the Dodgers, you have a building block of at least 3 amazing pitchers. Roberto Osuna, still solid closing pitcher right here. K9, B9 went up. Control. Velocity, his break went up 89 freaking... That has to be an error right there. Hold on. It says it went up 89 points. That has to be an error or something. Maybe 8 points. I don't know why it's messing with me that much. Lorenzo Cain getting a decent buff. His discipline went up. His contact went down versus left, but his right stats went up quite a bit. Not a good power hitter, but a really good contact hitter, which is important for any rebuild. You got Howie Kendrick going up, Mabin going up, so he will be solid option. You got, I already went over those. Now we get into the point where we start talking about the people who went down. So you go through the obligatory pages of people who didn't move at all, or if they didn't, they at least balanced out a little bit. As you can see, D. Gordon, contact went down versus left, but his right went up, his vision went up. Stuff like that. Don't see any too much changes here. Just surf through real quick. Eric Thames, no. Ivan Nova, nope. Josh Harrison, no, no changes here. Now let's hear the sad part about going in the negatives. You can see some crucial people getting nerfed a little bit. Now I say that because the contact for Machado, because his average has been so bad, his contact went down 12 and 2, but his power went up 3 and 7, so that balances out a little bit. His vision went down 11, which is still not bad. He is a really good pitcher, a really good batter to build the Orioles around if you're doing an Orioles rebuild, but I wouldn't trade for him because his cost effectiveness compared to what it's going to take to get him, not worth it. You can get a lot not better third baseman, but a lot more cost effective third baseman necessarily. Whitley went down 2, I don't know why. Kipnis went down 2. His contact went down both. That's just awful. His vision and discipline went down both. That makes... He's still effective. Like, he's a really good option. But I'm worried about how much of that is related to speed. Because his arm accuracy isn't necessarily that good either. And seeing his contact go down worries me just a little bit, but he'd still probably be good for rebuilds. Santana went down, so he's probably trade bait at this point. Lucroy went down, so he's a good catcher, maybe catcher 2, depending on his salary. Cole went down, so he's probably now relegated to trade bait. Chris Bryant went down, which basically is just contact versus right, so you might... He's still 64, still really, really solid overall, so nothing to fret about right there. It's probably go back up once he starts hitting better. Randall Delgado went down too. Alec Asher went down. You see some people here. These two people, less likely to be trade bait, depending on their potential. Rick Porcello going down because he hasn't been... He's been actually pretty bad lately. I understand this drop. Probably should have dropped 4 or 5 more points. Like, maybe drop down to an 80 overall, at least in my opinion. You got Vance Worley here, 71 now. Rafael Montero, 66. Kente Maeda for the Dodgers. Not doing too good, struggling out of the bullpen, or struggling as a starter turned reliever. 3 losses, solid stamina and everything. Then the last page, the biggest drop is Brent Suter. Oh my god. 46 overall. This is going to be somebody that you're just going to want to throw into a trade that's already going to be completed. Just to drop salary, just to drop a roster spot. Pick someone up in the free agent market. You can get them for a lot better than this guy. Mark Melancon dropping to an 85. That's sad to see because he's one of the better relievers and he demands a decent salary. So trading for him used to be worth it with his 89 overall. Seeing him at 85 doesn't change my opinion of him too much, but it's going to make me take a peek at other closers relatively sooner than I normally would. And speaking of the Dodgers rebuild, you got Rich Hill here, dropped 4 points, still an 82 overall, which is not bad by any means. Just batters like hitting solid against him, 26 walks, 36 hits, whip of 1.5, ERA of 4.7. Definitely no Alex Wood here, but he should rebound. They have a good pitching staff in LA. You see some 50s anymore. These 50s are just going to be like Brent Suter. They're just going to be roster spots you throw in any random trade to try to open up a spot to pick up a free agent or something like that. Anyway, I didn't see anybody the one guy I expected to see in here is Kyle Schwarber. I honestly thought he would be in here. He probably will be in the next update where he got knocked down to... Jason Giambi and Juan Marichal, 91 overall. That's not bad. I thought he would be knocked down where he is now a AAA member, but we'll see in the next one. Anyway, guys, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day. Peace.